Oh, I should have made those times match up.
The following episode of the 8 p.m. quiz may contain strong language, adult themes, and very bad jokes. Please approach it with care.
One of the things, broadly speaking, that I hate about the world is when things go wrong, of course. And, whoa, bit of a flash on the video there. I think I know what's going on. I mean, I do hate it when things go wrong. If you're not watching the live stream, you will not know that this is take 2 of putting the whole thing on. My internet link died just as I was about to start talking. But we're back up again, running a few minutes late, so I will try and plough through this a little more quickly than I did last week, just so that you know, people in New Zealand or people with kids aren't up until the wee small hours. The other thing I wanted to say is that, yes, well, hello. Actually, is what I want to say. Hello, welcome. I'm Stilgarian. This is the second pilot episode of the 8 p.m. quiz. And over the next hour and a half, we are going to amuse ourselves with some questions, what I have written down. I know a number of you are new here, so let me say first, it's a quiz. I will ask you questions. You will answer them by writing them down on like a piece of paper or something at your end. Do not, I must repeat, do not put the answers to the questions in the live chat, unless of course they're extremely funny wrong answers. There will be 20 questions in each half. There are two halves, part 1 and part 2, I've decided to call them. 20 questions in each. We'll go through those 20 questions at halftime break. We'll check your scores and then you can refresh your drinks, and we'll go through part 2. I do know some of you are new, so that is great. Welcome back to those of you who were here last week. If you're new, you can go back and have a look at that and try and answer those questions. What else do I need to tell you? If you have a team name, please tell us in the chat what your team name is. I won't necessarily catch them all because there's already quite a few of you there. But let's say hello to a few people, shall we? Hello to Ms. Cat again. Dana Sabera, Jim Campbell, Pong, hello. You did manage to get a drink, but did you use the Australian red wine or the Thai rum? These are important questions. Ms. Cat, hi. Sil Mobile's back. Father Carl is here. What a disaster. Yes, that's pretty much the theme of this entire episode. Glazen, yes, the 8:20 p.m. quiz is the new hashtag, I think. We can split that. Could be the 4:20 p.m. quiz if we ran a little earlier and if we were so inclined to follow up that thing. Let's see who else is here because people are still coming in. About 29, 30 of you so far. Stop that astronaut, there's a truck. Oh yes, a reminder, there is kind of a significant lag between when I say something and it crawls its way up to YouTube and then back down to you and you see it and you respond in the chat and the chat goes all the way back up and all the way back down again. And as you know, the internet in Australia is a bit shit. So that can take up to a minute. I tried doing something to reduce that, but there just simply isn't the bandwidth, which is remarkable. I'm on a 4G link here in the forest near Wentworth Falls in the Blue Mountains. And I did some speed tests. I can get 60, 70, 80 megabit per second downlink, but like about somewhere between 5 and 8 megabit per second uplink. It's my own fault this time for trying to do it in high definition video, not standard definition of video, of the video, words, what even are they? So we'll see go. Hi David Heath, thank you for your continued support. Hi to Brendan Sainsbury, excellent. Ginevra's here. Jody Miner's here. Stuart Young is here. That is fantastic. And Pong is on the rum. We seem to have settled down at the number of people we're going to get, I think. So are your glasses charged? I'm drinking an Andrew Garrett sparkling Shiraz today. It's become a bit of a go-to thing. Sil Mobile has asked, can we test the lag? So yes, I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. So you then type now and it'll go all the way. I suppose you could imagine that instead of sitting here in front of the curtains of mystery, that it would be the moon. The moon's only about 3 seconds up and down from memory, but I could be elsewhere. We're still testing the lag. That's been, by my count, 30 seconds now. Still none of you coming back. Now, say a lot of people. So it's about 30 seconds today. That's fantastic. That's better than it was last week. Who knows? Who knows? And there's Daniel Houlihan. Hi, Daniel. Cheese Trumpet. Cheese Trumpet is an excellent thing. That's 50 seconds for you guys. Brendan Sainsbury, 53. KA's drinking pure blonde, or at least describing him or herself, so that's good. Sangsom rum, Pong is drinking, but of course that is pretty much standard Thai rum. Okay, everyone's here, 30 people here. I think it's time to start. Remember the rules. 20 questions in part 1, 20 questions in part 2. Write down your answers. If you're in a team, confer amongst yourselves, but write it down. Don't put the answers in the live chat unless they're funny bullshit answers. And, you know, be honest, don't cheat. You're only cheating yourself if you look up. Okay, part 1, round 1, question 1. This is the news round for 5 questions. Question 1, who is the President of the United States of America? I thought we'd ease into this fairly easily. Question 1, who is the President of the United States of America? And a bonus point, what year were they born? What year was the current President of the United States born? 1 point for the name, 1 point for the year. Question 2. According to this week's Essential polling, political polling in Australia by Essential Vision, what is Scott Morrison's rating as Prime Minister of Australia? What is his approval rating? Is it 51%, 56%, or 61%? Scott Morrison's approval rating, 51%, 56%, or 61%. That's question 2. Question 3, as I realise I need to get on to the picture questions. Question 3 is a picture question. Why isn't the picture question loading? I know why the picture question isn't loading. Let me try now. That's question 3. Who are these 3 people who've been in the news this week? Okay, they're all men in this picture, I can assure you of that. Well, I could assume that. So there they are. 3. There are plenty of women coming up later, don't worry about that. I try to be fairly broad in this thing. So there's 3 men. Who are they? And I'll leave that up while I go on to question 4. Jack Ma founded which Chinese online business? Jack Ma, M-A, founded which Chinese online business? And a bonus round, why was he in the news this week? So Jack Ma, why was he in the news this week? 1 point for each of those things. What else have we got happening in this round? We're not at the end. There are 2 more. Oh no, 1 more question in the news round. Question 5. What are the missing words in this headline? This is a headline from the news this week. If you follow my podcast or follow me on Twitter, you are bound to know the answer to this question. So there it is. Gwyneth Paltrow's what reportedly explodes in UK woman's home? That is question 5, and that is the end of the news round. How do you think you're going there? I noticed that some of you were saying that the Scott Morrison approval rating question is going to be a little bit depressing. 51%, 56%, 61%. I mean, if you were Scott Morrison, they're really quite good numbers, and, you know, whichever set it is. 51, 56, whatever. So that is, right. Question 6. This is 3 questions in the unusual thing round. Toilets is the subject matter this week. Question 6. Where would you find a tersorium? Tersorium. Where would you find a tersorium? Jim Campbell says he said he'd get a point for question 5. Yeah, all right. It was pretty obvious. For those of you who know me and know how I look at the news, that really was an obvious question about Gwyneth Paltrow. So, question 6 was, where would you find a tersorium? Tersorium. Another name for it, here's a clue, a xylospongium. A xylospongium. Where would you find that? Question 6. Question 7, which famous monarch, well, which monarch anyway, famously died after falling off his toilet? So there was a monarch, a king or queen, emperor or empress, whatever, who died after falling off their toilet. Who was it? Okay. And question 8, final toilet question, true or false? If you sit on the toilet seat for a long period of time, say if you're using your smartphone while you're going about your business, could that lead to hemorrhoids? You know, those little painful round the back bottom thing, hemorrhoids. So is that a thing, that if you sit on the toilet for too long, you could get hemorrhoids? Is that a thing? True or false? That was question 8. Right. Round 3 is 5 media questions, which, I mean, is film, television, music, literature, although I don't think there's a literature one now. Jody Miners is wondering if this is about the dinosaur. I think Jody is referring to the previous question involving Gwyneth Paltrow. An exploding dinosaur, I'm liking the idea. Question 9. I'm going to name 4 Australian films. Which one was not released in the year 2001? So all of these films are from 2001, except one, which is from a different year. So which one is not the 2001 film? And the films are Chopper, starring Eric Bana as Mark Chopper Reed, the toe cutter and alleged hitman. Oh, he's dead now. The hitman. So Chopper. Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, starring Paul Hogan as Crocodile Dundee. He Died with a Falafel in His Hand, which is the film of the best-selling book by John Birmingham, friend of the show, or friend of my pod anyway, you know, John Birmingham. Or Moulin Rouge, directed by Baz Luhrmann. So there's 4 films. One of them was not released in 2001. It's Chopper, Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, great Australian film. He Died with a Falafel in His Hand, or Moulin Rouge. Question 10. Lois Price is a character in which Australian television series? Lois Price. She, named Lois is generally a woman's name. Lois Price is a character in an Australian television series. Which one? Very easy, that one, I think. How are you going in the chat there? Pete Sandlands is getting buff-ing. Sorry about that. I'm pretty sure that's caused by problems with the uplink here. Sorry about that. Question 10, Lois Price is a character in which Australian television series? Question 11, name these 3 songs. No, I can't do that. Last time I played you clips from 3 songs and wanted you to name the songs. That was fine, but I played slightly longer clips so that you could hear the answer, and they all triggered copyright flags on the stream, and I had to go back and mute them in the recording that's online. So sadly, I won't be able to do that until I sort out the copyright issues. But there are ways of doing that. I'll tell you about them at the half time break. A lot of people are saying Elvis. Don't know why. Anyway, not name these 3 songs, but I'm going to read you the lyrics from 3 songs, and you have to tell me what the name of the song is. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? And I will also give you the year the song was released, just as a bit of a clue. And that's, if it was a single, the year the single was released, right? Or if it was only an album track when the album was released. But sometimes, obviously, an album comes out and then a single is released from that album later. I'm after the year, or I'll tell you the year the single was released. Wow. Okay. Stuart Young's wondering whether, asking whether people watch TV. I mean, they do. I mean, I don't watch it live much. Haven't for a very long time now that I think about it, or weeks and weeks and weeks. But, you know, I watch certain programs which you'd call television programs on the line, as they say, right? One day I will show you what's behind these curtains. Anyway, the lyrics. Okay, there are 3 songs. A, this is question 11. A, clean shirt, new shoes. And I don't know where I'm going to. Silk shirt, black tie. I don't need a reason why. B, I'll read these a second time, don't worry. I'm so happy because today I found my friends. They're in my head. I'm so ugly. That's okay, because so are you. That's from 1992. The first one was from 1983. The one I just did was from 1992. And the third one, C, let's dance in style. Let's dance for a while. Heaven can wait. We're only watching the skies, hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. Are you going to drop the bomb or not? Well, the version I know is from 2005, but that's kind of a trick question because that's a cover version. The original version was in 1984, so for a bonus point, who released it in 1984? So broadly, I want the names of these songs, and then a bonus track for who did the original, the last one. So I'll read those for you again. Some of you people are having a lot of fun there. It's good to see. I'm ploughing through this, and I'll why am I drinking red wine out of a flute? Asked Jim Campbell. It's a sparkling wine, you dickhead. I said that. I explained that. Andrew Garrett's Sparkling Shiraz. Idiot. A. Song A from 1983. Clean shirt, new shoes. And I don't know where I'm going to. Silk shirt, black tie. I don't need a reason why. From 83. B. From 1992. I'm so happy because today I found my friends. They're in my head. I'm so ugly. That's okay, because so are you. And C, this version from 2005, let's dance in style, let's dance for a while. Heaven can wait, we're only watching the skies, hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. Are you going to drop the bomb or not? From 2005, that cover version. Bonus point, who originally released that song in 1984. That all was question 11. Some people are, yeah, The Who covered that song? People, of course they did. The Who covered every song, didn't they? I mean, everyone's covered every Who song by The Who. There's Kat saying she doesn't listen to lyrics, so this is painful. To tell the truth, neither do I. But, you know, copy and paste from the internet is a fabulous thing. Question 12 is about James Bond, and specifically the 1999 James Bond film, The World Is Not Enough. So there are 3 sub-questions, 1 point each for these. In The World Is Not Enough from 1999, who played James Bond? That should be a really easy one. Which Scottish actor played a mafia boss? The character was titled Valentin Zukovsky. They really work hard on these names. And Valentin Zukovsky, apart from being a former mafia boss and owning a caviar factory, ends up being shot in the film. So which Scottish actor played that character? In the world is not enough. And the third part of that question, some of the film was set in which four-letter city on the Caspian Sea noted for its oil production? So some of the film was set in this city. It's an oil city on the Caspian Sea. The name of the city, 4 letters. What was the name of that city? 1 point each. Now, Stop That Astronaut says we missed part C and I got yelled at. If you come back to me, I'll missed it as in didn't know the answer. Again, at halftime, I'll spend a few moments before we mark them running through and making sure you've all got the questions. Pete Lawler, we don't say the name of that play at all, let alone on the channel. So question 12 was the James Bond question. Question 13, this is another picture question. What? Okay, I'm a bit confused because I don't have a picture question. That's because I forgot to load it. Okay, who are these 3 people? This is question 13. 1 point each. I'll leave that on the screen a little moment. So there's a picture question. That's quite lovely. I have forgotten to set up all the little things where I could pop into a corner of the window and chat to you while I'm leaving the graphics up on the screen. But there you go. So who are those 3 people? I can tell you who they're not. That's not Julie Bishop on the left. It's not Gina Reinhardt on the right, though that wasn't a question last week. The guy in the middle, I think, is Anthony Albanese when he was a little bit cooler. I think. So you have a look at those. Is that enough time? I'll leave. Whoa, why did that pop down there like that? See, normally, if I preload them, I have their position locked. So they don't do that. Let me just do that now. I'll leave that on the screen while I go into the next question, which is the old news round, not the new news round, the old news round. This is, again, 5 questions. So question 14. Question 14 is, who was the Prime Minister of Australia at the start of World War II in 1939? Now, I will tell you that the Prime Ministership did change a number of times during the Second World War in Australia. So who, I really shouldn't slurp while I have a microphone on me, should I? Who was the Prime Minister of Australia at the start of World War II in 1939? That is question 13. There's speculation that Albo has never been cool. I can't possibly enter that. KA says he was hot. No, none of those people are Elvis Presley either, which is very disappointing. Okay, now, question 14 was about the Prime Minister of Australia. Question 15, which came first? Now, these are 2 historical events. You don't need to tell me when they were, just which one came first. Either Indonesia's independence from the Netherlands or Malaysia's independence from the United Kingdom. Okay, so 2 Southeast Asian countries, Malaysia and Indonesia. Indonesia and Malaysia, which was the order I said them in to begin with, which was the first one to gain independence as an independent nation? That was question 15. Question 16. You've probably all heard of the Ming Dynasty in China. When was it? I'll make this a multiple choice as well because it's quite difficult. So the Ming Dynasty, was it A, 1368 to 1644? Again, these are in the common Western calendar. Sorry, everyone who uses other calendars. But the Ming Dynasty, was it A, 1368 to 1644, B, 1170 to 1375, D, 1697 to 1815, or around 850 to 975. So all in the Common Era. So Ming Dynasty, A, 1368 to 1644, B, 1170 to 1375, C, 1697 to 1815, and D, approximately 850 to 975. That is question 16. Question 17. Question 17, true or false? In World War II, the British had an organisation called the 20 Committee. The number, the 20 Committee. And it was called that because 20 in Roman numerals is XX, which is a double cross. And the 20 Committee's job was to double cross the enemy with disinformation. True or false, the British had an organisation called the 20 Committee to double cross the enemy with disinformation. That was question 17. And question 18 is the last in the old news round. It's another picture question. Who are these people from Not News? Told you there'd be some women coming up. Well, there are two women in the previous picture question as well. So, these people, who are they? You should know them. Well, I reckon I could have probably got 2 out of the 3 myself if I hadn't chosen the question. Ooh, that swallowing sound does come through a bit well, doesn't it? So I'll leave those 3 people on the screen while I do question 19 and 20. So the picture question is question 18, right? Question 19 is the critter question. How many legs do critters of the family Columbidae usually have? There's a family of critters called Columbidae, looking very much like Columbia or Columbus. Columbidae, Columbidae. Columbidae. How many legs do they usually have? David Heath thinks he's doing better this week than last week. Glassett, people are doing the lotto numbers while this is happening. That's thing. John Howard is definitely not an answer, nor is Tony Abbott. Yeah, we're going back into some older questions. Anyway, how many legs do critters of the family Columbidae have? And to come back to question 20, which is who am I? Who am this person? So not me, obviously, you know who I am. Who is the person I'm about to describe? I was born on the 15th of June 1953 in the current capital city of my country. My father held a number of important political posts, including Chief of Propaganda. in this country. My mother also played an important role in politics, which I won't go through just now. At university, I studied chemical engineering. I worked up through the ranks of politics in my country, and in 1985, I was part of a delegation to study US agriculture, American agriculture, and I stayed in the home of an American family in the town of Muscatine, Iowa. I mean, we all know Muscatine, Iowa, right? It's famous for something, I suppose. And I'm now quite powerful, but I'm embarrassed about being compared to a famous cartoon character. Okay. Born 15 June 53 in the capital city. Father held political posts, including Chief of Propaganda. Mother was also into politics. At university, studied chemical engineering, worked up through politics. In 1985, went on a study tour in the United States to study agriculture, stayed with an American family in Iowa, and now quite powerful, but embarrassed to be compared to a cartoon character. So there are all the questions for part one, the 20 questions. I will watch the chat for the next minute or so to see if we need to repeat any there. I mean, you really do need to be paying attention, don't you? I should have taped that back. The thing about television is quite often people have all sorts of like pins and gaffer tape and whatever holding their clothing together. You know, a popular one is to just tape back the shirt a bit so it looks a bit tighter behind the shoulders, so it looks fine. I can't be asked about that. I am powering through it a bit faster than last week, which I hope works a bit better for you. This is, let me remind you, the second of 3 pilot episodes, so there's another one next Thursday. And then I'll see what I think about doing this in the future. This is not something that I get paid for, obviously. So down below at Stilgherrian, you know, in the YouTube thing, but you know, regulars know this, at stilgherrian.com/tip, you will find a way to throw a few dollars into the tip jar. I think, you know, you'd spend a few bucks at the pub doing a quiz like this. So, you know, a few bucks, you will see, you know, there's more expensive options, more generous options on the tip page, which relate to other things. But for this, you know, it's just a bit of fun on a Thursday night. So just see what you want to throw in. That would be lovely. Looking at the questions, Ms. Cat is disputing that question 11B was released in 1982. That's because question B was released in 1983. Sorry, 92. No, 92 is what I have, I'm afraid. I mean, I did check these against Wikipedia, but if you think it's a different year and you know what the song is, I mean, that's fine because you'll get the name of the song, right? Glassant says they'll tip for every question they get wrong. Oh, I like that idea. Make it a kind of punishment or a fine. Do potato heads count of cartoons? Asks Hola Schmola. I really don't think so. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people who prefer to identify in other ways, pets. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. That's rude. Okay, let's go through the answers, shall we? Why am I looking at it? Okay. Who is the President of the United States? Joe Biden. Joe Biden Jr. Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. is his full name. So point for that. You all got that right. You seriously all got that. But the bonus point, what year was he born? The answer is 1942. 20th of November. In fact, he's 78 years old, 1942 for a bonus point. Question 2. According to this week's Essential polling, Scott Morrison's approval rating is 61%. That was the third option, 61%. His approval rating is been up in that, like, for the last year. Sometimes up to 65, even 66%, which is a significant rise within the margin of error. Interestingly, I'll just pass this on, also in the Essential polling this week was how many people said they'd never get vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine. The answer is 11%, although if you look at it on a party basis, if you look at people in other parties, so not the Coalition, not Labor, not the Greens, 25% of them say they will never have the COVID-19 vaccine. By other, it's, mostly One Nation and other, fringe parties. Quarter of them say they'll never have the COVID-19 vaccine, which is worried. Anyway, question 2, 61% for Scott Morrison. Question 3 was the photo question. I wanted names here. Knowing Biden's middle name is not a bonus point because I don't want to do maths later. On the left, that is Australia's Deputy Prime Minister and leader of the National Party, Michael McCormack. It's Michael McCormack for the point. Yeah, I struggle with that every time. In the middle, it's a tennis player, the Serbian tennis player Novak Djokovic, who's been in the news a bit this week for being an arsehole. And on the right, former White House advisor Steve Bannon, founder of Breitbart, funder of and mentor of, what's his name? Milo Yiannopoulos, Nazi, basically, anyway. Always wears 2 shirts, as you can see in that photo. So that's a point each for Michael McCormack, Novak Djokovic, and Steve Bannon. That really is quite terrible. Question 4. Jack Ma founded which Chinese online business? The answer is Alibaba, the Alibaba Group. Annual revenue is $72 million a year in the last thing. So a point for Alibaba, and the bonus point is he's in the news this week because he appeared online at a meeting. He hadn't been seen since October, possibly because at that time he was quite outspoken against the business regulatory regime in China. And then he was meant to be on the final episode of a TV show where he was one of the judges, and he didn't turn up. So 4 months later, he's finally turned up after having been in hiding. So it's a point for that. You will know, come on, you know whether you knew it or not from that description. So Alibaba, and he reappeared after being absent. Question 5, what are the missing words in this headline? The answers are vagina candle. Now, as you know, or words to effect of vagina candle, as you know, about a year ago, Gwyneth Paltrow produced a candle which she claims smelled like a vagina. Her vagina specifically. Well, in the UK the other day, one of them was obviously being burned because a woman in the UK wanted her home to smell like Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina, as any sensible person would. Her name is Jodie Thompson. She's 50 years old. And she says the candle exploded and emitted huge flames with bits flying everywhere. So, Civil Mobile. Back to all of the picture questions are 1 point for each person. 3 points for the question. That's vagina candle for 1 point. It's going to be one of those days. Question 6. Where would you find a tussorium or a xylospongium? The answer is in a Roman toilet. There's one. It's a sponge on a stick which you use to wipe your ass in a public toilet. Toilet, yes. I think we need Roman for the point because I did say the whole round was about toilets, so toilets are given. I think we need Roman toilet for that. And yes, that was a shared thing. And between customers, the spongy bit would be sitting in a bucket of water with salt added or maybe vinegar or something to disinfect it. Didn't work. And you ended up getting diseases from everyone else's poo in the Roman toilet. Brandon Sainsbury, I did use the other word. Does that count? I'm assuming that's to do with the Gwyneth Paltrow question. I will accept the other word for that body part. Second toilet questions is question 7. Which monarch famously died of falling off their toilet? The answer is England's King George II. I'll give half a point for King George, or the other Georges, 1 and 3. But the full point, you need to say King George II. That happened in 1760. Fell off the toilet. He needed a sponge to land on, didn't he? That's the way to do this. You need a sponge to land on. And true or false, sitting on the toilet for too long using your mobile phone can cause hemorrhoids. The answer is true. The musculature, as you're sitting on your toilet, the kind of muscles are pushed and there's a certain splaying and straining on the sphincters. I choose not to show a short video on this point, so true for question 8. Round 3 media questions. Question 9. Which of these 4 films was not released in the year 2001? The answer is Chopper, starring Mark Reed. That was in 2000, so 21 years ago. All the rest were in 2000. 2001, I mean. Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. He died with a falafel in his hand, and Moulin Rouge. So for the point, Chopper. Question 10. Lois Price is a character in which Australian television series? The answer is Sean McAuliffe's Mad as Hell for the point. That's Lois Price there, high in the sky in the traffic thing. Been a regular character on Mad as Hell for a very long time. Almost since the beginning of the series. I mean, there are 12 series or 13 series or something now. So a point for Sean McAuliffe's Mad as Hell. Okay, question 11. Name these 3 songs. Clean Shirt, New Shoes Again. That is Sharp Dressed Man by ZZ Top, 1983. It was an album in 82, I think, and then that came out. So a point for Sharp Dressed Man. B is Lithium. Point for Lithium by Nirvana. There is some dispute over, I said it was out in 92. Someone else is saying someone else. Lithium, like you either knew it or you didn't, right? Despite the year. It's Lithium by Nevada, 1 point for Lithium. And C, Let's Dance in Style, Let's Dance for a While. That is Forever Young is the name of the song. Now, the version I know is by Youth Group, the 2005 cover version, Forever Young. But it was originally released by Alphaville for the point in 1984. So Alphaville for the bonus point, the 4th in a round. So Sharp Dressed Man, Lithium, Forever Young, and Alphaville there. In fact, Forever Young, Australian band, Youth Group, the Australian band, were asked to do that cover for a film because the producer had liked them doing a cover for another film previously. Question 12. The James Bond film The World Is Not Enough from 1999. Who played Bond? Pierce Brosnan for the point. Pierce Brosnan. Ms. Cat is arguing, all right, whatever. Did you get the point, Ms. Cat? So stop your whinging. Pierce Brosnan for the point for James Bond. Now you've made me scroll away and I've lost where I'm up to. How dare you? Pierce Brosnan for the point. The Scottish actor who played Valentin Zukovsky was Robbie Coltrane. You'll know him from Cracker, amongst other things. I think in the Harry Potter films, though, you know, they're for children, and if you watch them, you really need to think about your life choice or grow the fuck up, basically. And the city on the Caspian Sea noted for oil production in which it was set, Baku, B-A-K-U for the point. So Pierce Brosnan, Robbie Coltrane, Baku. Ms. Kat's come back to correct things. Yes, I did check that. I did. That's all right. That's all right. We're all friends again now, okay? Okay, question 13 was another picture question. That was this one. A point each for these. Isn't it like that? You know, Pong saying he knew the lyrics, damn. Bren saying got Alphaville, missed lithium, over. I know that a lot of you are of the age where you should know your fucking Nirvana songs, right? Okay, in this question, a point each. Dusty Springfield, the pop singer from the 60s on the left. In the middle, Jimi Hendrix, of course. And on the right, British actor Olivia Colman. That's a shot there from the sitcom Peep Show, where she's in tears because she's getting married in a way she doesn't want to, with... What? Jim Campbell? No, Carlo, not Coltrane. No, Robbie Coltrane. What? What is going on? Oh. Okay, point each. Dusty Springfield, Jimi Hendrix, Olivia Colman. Of course, she's doing very well as Queen Elizabeth II in The Crown. She's done a whole bunch of things more recently, or recently as well. I mean, The Crown is the most recent thing as far as I know. Brilliant actor. I've become a bit of a fan. Question 14. Who was the Prime Minister of Australia at the start of World War II? It was Robert Menzies, would you believe? Robert Menzies of what was then called the United Australia Party from 26th of April 1939, and then the war started in September 1939, at least in Europe and as the English-speaking world generally reckons it. He was Prime Minister through until 1941, in August 1941. So nearly 2 years after the Second World War started. So Robert Menzies, and just for your background, was then Arthur Fadden from October 41, or through until October 41, John Curtin until the 5th of July 1945, when he died, like a month and a bit out from the end of World War II. Frank Ford, Prime Minister for a week, Deputy PM until obviously they could have a party room meeting, and then Ben Chifley was PM out for the remainder of the war, like about a month or so. And if you're thinking, wasn't that early for Robert Menzies? Yes, but Robert Menzies was Prime Minister again from 1949 through until 1966. There were, in fact, 10 Australian governments led by Robert Menzies. Point for Robert Menzies, and what a depressing thought. Which came first, the independence of Indonesia from the Dutch or the independence of Malaysia from the United Kingdom? The answer is Indonesia. It happened in stages. There was the independence of the old... What? Yeah, Indonesia, 1947. 1947. Malaysia's independence, 1957, an entire decade later. In fact, the Federation of Malaysia got independence in 57, then the other bits in 63, and Malaysia was proclaimed as a bigger federation in 1963, and then in 1965, Singapore bailed out. So, Indonesia for the point. Question 16, when was the Ming dynasty? The answer is A, 1368 to 1644. Pretty solid time, isn't it? Nearly 300 years. Question 17, true or false? True, the British did indeed have a thing called the 20 Committee, double X, to double cross the enemy with disinformation. Fascinating story. They ended up capturing every single German agent that had been parachuted into Britain. Germans didn't know anything about it. The British just made up this entire fictional German intelligence network to radio back to Germany on the captured radios. Germany never found out. Question 17, point for true. Question 18 is another picture question. Point each, as with all the others. On the left, Martin Luther, the great Protestant reformer from Germany, founder of the Lutheran Church. So a point for Martin Luther. In the middle, Dame Quentin Bryce, the 25th Governor-General of Australia. So a point for Quentin Bryce. I should have put that photo in colour because her fashion sense was just magnificent, but history, so I wanted to do black and white to, distract you from when it might be with the colour grading. And on the right, Betty Ford. So she was the wife of President Gerald Ford of the United States, but she was the very First Lady to get active politically. All the rest had just been kind of handbags. But Betty Ford was the first one. She got active in social policy, and she founded the Betty Ford Centre for Substance Abuse and Addiction. Anyway, a point each for Martin Luther, Dame Quentin Bryce, and well, you don't need the dame for the point, and Betty Ford. Question 19. How many legs do critters of the family Columbidae usually have? Well, they're pigeons. Pigeons and doves are the Columbidae. So they usually have 2 legs. A point for 2. And the final question, who am I? Born 1953, etc. Xi Jinping, the leader of China currently. So a point for Xi Jinping. That is the marking for part 1. You have a possible 33 points there. Do let us know how you go, and then I will move on to the next bit very shortly after I've done a little bit of housekeeping. So do let me know how you went in part 1. As I said, I'll do a bit of housekeeping while that's happening. As I said, you can go to stilgherrian.com/tip, buy me a drink, buy me a coffee, throw something in the jar. I'd love to see how you got. David Heath got 2/3. Sorry, I'm just distracted because there's a thing that keeps popping up on screen saying there's no camera connected. I'm looking at it right in front of me now. I can see myself. There is a camera connected. No Holishmola, not 1,000 legs. Or 6. There. And I forgot to show you this thing. Hang on, I'll just pop back and show you. I didn't mention, there wasn't a point for this, but Xi Jinping, there he is on the left, does not like being compared to Winnie the Pooh, and here is the composite image. In fact, for a period there, Winnie the Pooh became a censorable item. You were not allowed to post photographs of Winnie the Pooh at all on social media. Carl Sinclair's lot got 20 out of 33. That's great. Still got 12. Okay, there's arguments over whether Robert Carlyle and Robbie Coltrane, they were both in the film. Some people are claiming they get points for that. I'm going to say half a point because I did describe the character in quite some detail. Yeah, half a point for Carlyle. You need Robbie Coltrane for the full point. Jim Campbell's appealing on question 7. What's that? George II fell off his toilet. 21 on review. Okay. 2 of us picked Sandleets to 18, 14 and a half. Look, I think there's a fair spread there. Anyway, while that's happening, let me just say, why don't you watch a Jellyfish while I'm doing all that? They're interesting scores. Okay. I want to say particular thanks this episode to people who have contributed in the week since the last one. So that's thanks to Bren Carruthers, David Heath, who says last week was a good quiz, don't make the questions any easier. Well, I didn't think I had, but there you go. David Heath is also kind of arguing about the Robbie Coltrane thing. Look, I've told you, I've said 1 point for Robbie Coltrane, half a point for Robert Carlyle. For fuck's sake. Thank you, David Heath. Carletta Albianic, thank you. Katrina Jetti, thank you. Melissa Martin, thank you. Natalie Rutherford, thank you. Well, a lot of these are regular friends of my pod and other things, so that's fantastic. Pete Lawler, who is playing again this week too, he says, get a Freddo up here. A chocolate frog is all well and good, but, is that a euphemism for something? I don't know. Silvano, who got one in just before we started and said, his wine is poured and he's ready. Well, good. I hope you've had another thing. David Heath says always takes too much time. Yeah, I'm going to really, really power through the second half, trust me. And also thank you to one person who's choosing to remain anonymous. So that is excellent. And meanwhile, I think you should all charge your drinks. I'm just going to switch to another microphone. There you go. I'm going all the way over the other side of the room to refill mine because I need to put the refrigerator much closer to the whole thing, I think. But I'll bring the bottle over. It's not going to warm up that much, I suppose, during the second half. By the way, do you like the Jellyfish? There's a credit on the screen. I don't know who Dreamworld is, but that's their Jellyfish video. And I did sort out all of the copyright things this week, so that's all a bit better. Okay, back on the proper microphone now and putting my earbuds back in. I did think about maybe pre-recording a segment here or having a music track to give us time to deal with all of this housekeeping, but there you go. Okay, so Jim Campbell says he's not arguing about Carlyle. You got that wrong. Well, this is the whole point. If you're really that desperate, well, half a point can make all the difference in this. One thing I will do, and I'll try very hard not to accidentally erase the live chat this week, because last week, as I said, I had to edit the video to remove some copyright hits. And if you do that, it makes the live chat unavailable because it's too stupid to work out how it synchronises up. So I've lost it. I've lost the whole thing. And some of you made really good suggestions. So I've sorted the copyright issues this week, and which means I will go through the chat. I will set up before the final episode too a newsletter and a kind of a leaderboard and things that this is modelled on Nick's pub quiz in the UK, and he has like a newsletter and a leaderboard and a selfie thing where you take a photograph of your people with the screen in the background and so on, and has a whole community thing going. So I will capture your details as much as I can, and I'll have a thing set up next week. Still Mobile suggested a paid ad spot for the intermission. Yeah, I could. I mean, I need an audience of about 100 times what it is, you know, to really make that worthwhile. Could I hear people still going on and on about the Carlisle thing? Bloody hell. What is actually wrong with you? Right, we start part 2 with the platypus round. There I am. Now, unfortunately, the snarky platypus was not able to write some questions this week. He's running a bit short of sleep. So while you guys are enjoying the platypus in the background, swimming around there from the San Diego Zoo, 4 questions. And since the snarky platypus couldn't write them, we kick off part 2 with 4 questions about the platypus, okay? So, ready to rock and roll. What is... Oh, I see what I've done here. I have made it so that I can't show you the photograph at the same time as the swimming thing. There we go. There we go. These are baby platypuses. What are they called? And I don't mean like Simon and Adrian. What is the name generally given to baby platypuses? And I'm going to say platypuses because we're speaking English. People who say platypi are generally idiots because platypus comes from Greek roots, not Latin. So if you wanted to even do it that way, it would be platypodes, which it isn't. So I often just say singular platypus, plural platypus. You can do platypuses. I find that an awkward word. But, you know. Okay, volume in the background is a problem there. Let's ramp that down. I did actually record that with extremely low volume in it. And I actually re-edited it from last week so that there wasn't that sudden crashing sound of the waterfall. Anyway, these lovely critters on the screen, what are they called? That was question 21. Question 22, true or false? There are 2 species of platypus, Ornithorhynchus anatinus in the northern parts of Australia's east coast, and Ornithorhynchus paloinatus in the southern parts. So true or false, there are 2 species of platypus. Question 23. Last year in 2020, it was discovered that if you put a platypus under ultraviolet light, it glows. It is luminous. Why, I don't know. Why we've had platypuses for like so long and yet no one's thought of shoving them under a disco light. Whatever. But a point for what colour? What colour does a platypus glow under UV light? That's question 23. And question 24, how many teeth does an adult platypus have? How many just want the number. How many teeth does an adult platypus have? That is question 4. Thus ends the platypus round. Next is the geography round. You see, and I will say, I'm sorry, there really isn't a sport question this week. Is that really a great loss? Do you really want sport questions? I mean, I could do them. Let me know. Geography round, question 25. Here we go. Here is a map of Indonesia. There is not a map of Indonesia because it's not coming up on screen. Why isn't that coming up on screen? Oh, I see why. There. Question 25 is a map of Indonesia. As you can see, I've numbered some places in there. Stuart Young is buffering. Just only let me know if it's buffering for everyone at that point. I can hear an aircraft overhead, and it's not the trees, I don't think. It's the aircraft overhead somehow. I don't know what they do to the stirring up of the 4G, but it's a thing. Okay, there's a map of Indonesia. So see the numbers? I have 4 places in Indonesia, and you have to just write down which number corresponds to those 4 places. KA, you missed the second platypus question, which was 22, true or false, there are 2 species of platypus. Okay, on the map of Indonesia, 4 places are Bali, come on, holiday destination, where is Bali? Mount Krakatoa, which you will recall famously exploded and caused a mess of the world. The island of Sulawesi, that's the third one, and Surabaya, which is a city. So the 4 places are, write down their numbers, I'll leave the map up for a little bit. Bali, Mount Krakatoa. Is Krakatoa one of those words that includes the meaning mountain? Is Krakatoa anyway. The island of Sulawesi and Surabaya. I'm seeing a yeah, nah to sport. David Heath doesn't mind sport. Nobody likes sport. No sports to others. It's going to be one of those things, isn't it? Okay, so there's 4 places that I've named in Indonesia. I'll leave that up for a little bit longer so you can argue with people on that. Question 20, that's question 25. Question 26, what is the capital of Estonia? Estonia, you know where Estonia is. What's its capital city? Pretty straightforward. There's a whole thing relating to cyber warfare that was held. That's not relevant. You probably don't know that. But what is the capital of Estonia for question 26? Question 27. Oh, I like this one. I really like this one. Which city is furthest north? Vladivostok in Siberia in Russia or Anchorage in Alaska in the United States? So they're both cities that are well north, right? Which one? Sit up, Stugarian. I think my chair went down a bit. There we go. I knocked the thingy on my chair. Which is further north, Vladivostok or Anchorage? Question 28. Which country are all these things in? This is a country. It has an area known as Oesling, O-E-S-L-A-N-G. It is a mountain called Napoleon's Guard. It has an area called Little Switzerland. It has a town called Differdange. The Moselle Valley, or a Moselle Valley. And this is a big clue. It also contains the Court of Justice of the European Union. Oesling, Napoleon's Guard, Little Switzerland, Differdange, Moselle, Court of Justice of the European Union, name of that country, please. That's question 28. Question 29. Which country, what is the country immediately north of Nigeria in Africa? What is the name of the country immediately north of Nigeria? Lagaturn asks, what about the town of Alert in Canada? What about it? What about it? Okay, that's the geography round. World affairs round now for 5 questions. Question 30. Who is the president of Indonesia? Like Indonesia's getting a bit of a look in this week. Tanzania last week. Indonesia this week. Who is the president of Indonesia? The current one, obviously. Question 31. What is the link between all these things? Jin, Suga, J-Hope, RM, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. So what is the link between those 7 things? Jin, Suga, J-Hope, RM, Jimin, V, Jungkook. That's question 31. Question 32, Iran has been suffering electricity blackouts recently. Why? Why are they getting electricity blackouts in Iran, according to the Iranian government at least anyway? I mean, there have been some theories. Yes, David Heath is laughing. I know why. Why? Okay, question 32. Why have there been electricity blackouts in Iran recently? Question 33. I think this is hard and it shouldn't be hard because I did not know that this was happening until I was preparing the questions. Protesters in which African nation broke a coronavirus curfew for the 5th night in a row? Last night, in the last 5 nights of protests, riots, in fact, more than 600 of them have been arrested. They're mostly between the ages of 14 and 15. So one point for the name of the country. It's in Africa. It's riots all week. Why? And that's which country for a point, and for a bonus point, what? Why? What are these riots about? And I reckon that's going to be difficult for people. And it shouldn't be. It's not a big, well, it's not big to us news story, but it's kind of big for the country involved. That's 33. Question 34, the last world affairs round. What is important about Yoshihide Suga? Yoshihide Suga. What's important about that? Pong saying, do not do the US theme. No. I think we've had quite enough of the United States, and we get that in the current affairs questions anyway. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now is the penultimate round of 5 questions, and then we have the last question. So, 5 questions, mixed bag. Question 35, it's about America, sorry Pong. Since September 2017, up until, well, today, American taxpayers were paying $3,000 a month to help protect Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. Why? What was costing them $3,000 a month extra for all of this time? So the clues there obviously are Ivanka and Jared, and it's something to do with their protection. Secret Service is involved, obviously. Costing them $3,000 a month. What? Why? Question 36. Who this week announced their intention to enter politics, standing as a senator for the Great Australia Party? Someone who's been in the news quite a bit in the last 6 months, say. This week they said they're getting into politics for the Great Australia Party. And if you don't know what that is, well, if you know who founded the Great Australia Party, that's another point for you. So who is the person in the news who says they're going to stand as a senator? And you'll probably groan when you find out. And who is the founder of this thing called the Great Australia Party? And you will also groan if you don't already know it. It's a stupid thing. That's question 36. Question 37, it's another picture question. I'm going to get bounced for copyright on these at some point. Okay, 3 people, 1 point each. This is a random selection. I'll leave them on the screen for a little while. I mean, the one in the middle, very much in the news this week. The one on the right, again, very much in the news this week. This relates to the thing where I said there wouldn't necessarily be any. Anyway, there is him. And on the left, it's someone from history. I'm pretty sure that image has been colorized. But he invented he invented an important thing. That's all I will say. So there, those 3. I'll keep blathering for a slight little while here because you may want to think about that. No. Stuff them. Question 38. What is this? Now, it was in the news last year, I think it was. Anyway, that's a thing. On the right of the photo, no, that's not a little spiky thing sticking out. That's where I tried to edit out a shadow, and because there was a publisher's watermark on the image, which was too much of a clue. But what is that? Sil Mobile says he knows and he's groaning. Yeah, I don't need its name. I just broadly know. Just if you rather broadly, tell me what it is or what it's used for, or whatever. Its name is terrible. Okay, so that's question 38. Question 39. What city is this? The photograph is taken from space, obviously. I know that at least one of you has been to this city. What else do I... yes, this cat says YouTube only seems to care about audio copyright. No, they do video copyright takedowns as well. The remarkable thing is there was some footage from NASA once, the US Space Agency, that is in the public domain because there's a law in the United States which says everything that is produced in that way by the government is free to the world. It's actually a really nice bit of American law. But it had been used, that footage had been used in an American commercial television news broadcast, which they're free to do. Then the footage that news story was put onto YouTube. And then when someone else used the footage from that, the news organisation did a copyright bounce on that. And that is much rarer though. I mean, you're right, Ms. Cat. The recorded music industry comes down very hard, and if you look at what YouTube has, they have all sorts of automated systems to detect. And last week's episode was the first time I'd ever run through that process, and that's why I decided it's all too hard for me to do those music questions just yet. Dana Sibera, it's not Dubbo. And I'll tell you what else it's not. It's not Paris. And it's not Canberra. That was question 39. And the final question. I'm going to give you 3 choices. What is Transnistria? Transnistria. And I'll give you 3 alternatives, A, B, or C. A, Transnistria is an unstable chemical compound of sodium and chlorine the production of which is regulated by the Wassenaar Agreement on Export Controls because it is a precursor ingredient for a number of chemical warfare agents banned under the Canberra Convention. I'll read that. No, I'll read all three and then I'll summarise them again. B, Transnistria is a breakaway state which occupies a strip of land between Moldova and Ukraine. Its national anthem is best translated as "We chant thy praises." Its economy is based on a mix of heavy industry, steel production, electricity production, and manufacturing, mostly textiles. Or C, Transnistria is the name of a transgender rights political activist group in Pakistan, which was founded in 2011 following a Supreme Court ruling in 2009 in favour of civil rights for transgender citizens. The group, Transnistria, successfully lobbied for the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act, which was passed by the Pakistani Parliament in 2018. So, is Transnistria A, an unstable chemical compound of sodium and chlorine, which is a precursor for chemical weapons; B, a breakaway state between Moldova and Ukraine with the national anthem "We Chant Thy Praises"; or C, a transgender rights political activist group in Pakistan which was instrumental in the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act being passed in 2018. And that, everyone, boys and girls, mums and dads, that is question 40. That is the end of part 2. So, have a bit of a think. Transnistria, I'm pretty sure I said that. If I said Transnistria, I did not. I'll double check that. Ms. Cat, since I believe you know the answer, if you could perhaps just Google Nistria. Yes, Transnistria. Okay, people obviously know that. Some people do. I can see that I have failed to type correctly. And it is most disappointing that Google Docs spell checker did not know the answer to this. Doesn't know the answer to a lot of things. Okay. One on the right very easily. Let's scroll back. I think, no, Jim Campbell, I'm not spelling the question 31 stuff. Although I will say that gin is not spelt G-I-N but J-I-N in question 31. Have you really got them all down there? Jim Campbell's asking who wrote the 2 wrong answers. The answer is I wrote the 2 wrong answers. I will say, now there's a game, isn't there, a parlour game where if you, like, a person chooses a word from a dictionary and says what the word is, and then everyone has to write a false definition of that word, and the person who chose the word writes the real one, and then you put them all into a hat and shuffle them and read them out, and you get a point if you pick the correct one. And so the aim is to write a false one that sounds more real than the real one. A point. I used to be really, really good at that. So yes, Transnistria, I am really so sorry about that. It's not Dubbo, it's got to be Warrington for question 39. Okay, is everyone else, I think we're good to go with the answers. So let's go with the answers. Let's scroll back to do that. We started part 2 with the platypus round. I'll just go through these. What are these critters called? Baby platypus? The answer is puggles. P-U-G-G-L-E-S, or puggle singular for the point. Same word is used for echidna for some reason. So puggle for 1 point. They really are cute. 22, true or false? There are 2 species of platypus. False. There really is only 1 species of platypus. Ornithorhynchus anatinus. I made the other one up. Question 22, 1 point for false. 23, what colour do platypuses glow under UV light? The answer is bluish green. You need bluish green for the point. Blue or green will get you half a point. I think that's clear enough. Question 24, how many teeth does an adult platypus have? The answer is 0. Puggles have 3 teeth on either side upstairs and 3 teeth on either side downstairs for a total of 12. Sorry, I'm a bit like Scott Morrison there. 3 times 4 is 11. Anyway, puggles lose all of their teeth before or just after leaving the breeding burrow. So the answer is 0 for 24. For the point. Geography round. Okay, we start with 25, the map of Indonesia. Okay, 1 point each for these. Bali is number 5. Point for that. It's the first. Did I say? Oh, okay. People are just shouting monotremes for some reason. Okay, so Bali 5. Mount Krakatoa is 2. Really close to Jakarta. I mean, yeah. No wonder, which would have been called Batavia then anyway, so it doesn't really matter. The island of Sulawesi is 3, that whole island. By the way, the colours on this map just delineate the political regions, provinces and such of Indonesia. 2 levels, larger ones and smaller ones. It's not relevant to this question. So Sulawesi is 3, and Surabaya, which is the second most populous city in Indonesia, is number 8. So the correct answers are 5, 2, 3 and 8. And I will say the others, I think some of you would have picked 4 for Surabaya. No, that's Yogyakarta, another major city. So Yogyakarta is number 4. Number 1 is the island of Sumba. Number 6 is, like under the 6 is an island called Obi, O-B-I. And number 7, I'm not sure about this because it's showing as one island on this map, but on Google Maps, if you zoom in, it appears to be a number of smaller islands. Don't know what number 7 is. Doesn't matter. It's Indonesia. You don't care. 26. What is the capital of Estonia? The answer is Tallinn, T-A-L-L-I-N-N. I'm not fussed about the spelling. You either knew it was Tallinn or you didn't. So Tallinn for a point for 26. This one is amazing. Which city is further north? Vladivostok in Russia. I almost said the Soviet Union. I'm old. Or Anchorage in Alaska. The answer is Anchorage, and it's a really big margin. Vladivostok is just over 43 degrees north. Anchorage is 61 degrees north, so like 18 degrees further north. So Anchorage for the point. Question 28. In what country are all of the following? An area called Ursling, a mountain called Napoleon's Guard, the Court of Justice of the European Union. The answer is the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. Luxembourg for the point. We don't need the Grand Duchy bit. So, Ms. Cat, question 23, will you take cyan instead of blue-green? No, I'm going to count that half a point as well. Cyan really isn't a greenish blue. Sorry, but it's not. And question 29, which country is immediately to north of Nigeria? It is Niger, and there it is on the map. This I find terribly confusing, and American politicians always have trouble saying the name Niger because they just look at it and their brain melts, and perhaps rightly so. Niger for the point. Okay, world affairs round. Question 30. Who is the president of Indonesia? It is, of course, Joko Widodo. I'll accept Jokowi, his nickname in ScoMo style. Joko Widodo for the point. Question 31. What is the link between all these things? Jin, Suga, J-Hope, RM, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. They're the 7 members of the Korean pop band BTS, Bangtan Sonyeondan, or Bulletproof Boy Scouts. Or they now say BTS stands for Beyond the Scene. Whole complicated thing related. BTS, biggest musical act in the universe at the moment. BTS for the point. I know some of you probably know the full thing in Korean, but, you know, stop showing off. Question 32. Iran, electricity blackouts. Why? Crypto mining. I will accept Bitcoin as the answer. It turns out that because electricity is so cheap in Iran, probably something to do with the oil, like it is 1/30th the price of electricity in the UK. I couldn't be asked looking up the Australian figures. So Bitcoin miners, cryptocurrency miners have been churning out lots of electricity to make their pretend money in Iran, and it's caused blackouts. So cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or whatever. Yes, David Heath, for once the answer Chad was wrong. Yes, Holo Smoller, BTS. So BTS for 31, 1 point. 32, Iran, blackouts. Oh, sorry, Bitcoin mining or cryptocurrency mining for the point. 33, people in which African nation were problematic here, and I'm going to show you again on the map. It is Tunisia, up there at the top in the middle. Protesters have been rioting for the last 5 nights, ages 14 to 15. So a point for Tunisia, and the point for why is that the youth are upset. Mostly the economy and employment. So employment, the youth unemployment rate in Tunisia is like a third, 33%. It's a phenomenal mess. So youth unemployment, I will accept unemployment generally. I'll accept youth rights, all of those things for the point. But Tunisia is what you really should have. Question 34. What is important about Yoshihide Suga? He's the Prime Minister of Japan. And we should know this. Abe, retired. So Suga, Yoshihide Suga is Prime Minister of Japan. You needed that for the point. Okay, question 35. What have US taxpayers been paying $3,000 a month for with regards to Ivanka and Jared Kushner? It's to rent a toilet for the Secret Service because even though Ivanka and Jared have plenty of toilets in their own home, they do not allow the Secret Service agents in their protection detail to use the toilet. So at one point, the agents had a porta potty out in the yard, and the neighbours complained about that because they thought it was unsightly. The one I find amazing, the agents would nick across to nearby homes, including Barack Obama's house, and just say, can we use the toilet? And Mike Pence, the vice president's house, they'd use his toilet. Eventually, this was, everyone's over this. So they rented a basement studio from a neighbour solely so they could nip over there to use the bathroom. Use the toilet. Toilet's the key to that. Ivanka and Jared protected by Secret Service agent. Anyway, 36, who is entering politics to stand as a senator for the Great Australia Party? The answer is celebrity chef, QAnon fan and amateur Nazi, Pete Evans. I kid you not. So point for Pete Evans. And who founded the Great Australia Party? Former One Nation Senator Rod Cullerton. You may remember Rod Cullerton was chucked out of the Senate under Section 44 because of his citizenship issues, and then he sorted them, and then he was chucked out because he was guilty of a fraud charge or some such thing, and he's a criminal, basically. So that got him chucked out of the Senate, but that hasn't stopped him from founding a new party, the Great Australia Party. So 1 point for Rod Cullerton there. Pete Evans and Rod Cullerton. The picture question 37. Who are these people? Point each. Alexander Graham Bell, the key Scottish engineer inventing the telephone. Well, he didn't invent it solely, a lot of people were, but Alexander Graham Bell. In the middle, that is Joe the Pigeon. I need Joe the Pigeon, who was thought to have flown all the way to Australia from the United States and therefore have to be executed under our biosecurity laws. But it turns out that band around his leg is not a genuine pigeon racing identity band. He's just some local pigeon that someone's stuck that on to kind of claim that he's flown from the United States. So Joe is allowed to still be alive, the stupid fucking sky rat. So Joe the Pigeon for a point. And on the right, that is the captain of the Indian cricket team, Virat Kohli. In the news this week, of course, because India, I am told, won the cricket. Okay, we're getting disputes about the platypus colour. The Guardian article says their fur glowed green and cyan under different UV lights. See, cyan's blue. It's not bluish green and cyan. No. Blue and green. No. Blue and green together get the point. Either one or the other gets you half a point. Judge's decision is final. Okay. Question 38. What is this? This, dear viewer, is the Love Honey Squeal oral sex simulator. Yes, it's designed for ladies and those with lady parts. You press the start button. This is one with like its side case taken off so you can see how it works. Press the start button, the wheel rotates, and the continuous flow of rotating pink tongue shapes provides the thing. This was invented by an Irish guy. He makes, the royalties he's made so far is €370,000. This is the world's best-selling oral sex toy, although as someone reminded me, best-selling doesn't necessarily mean best. So sex toy for the point, oral sex toy, all of this. As an aside, I don't care where the captain of the Indian cricket team was. The question is, who is he? I showed you a photograph. He has a name. It is a point for the name. Arguing about where he was this week is not relevant to the question. Sex toy for 39. What city is this? Whoop. Can't get away from it, can we? What is this? Moscow. No, Stuart, no, stop quoting bits. I have made the decision. Fucking take it to the lawyers. Take it to the fucking lawyers. I tell you what, you'll still get the same prize money you would have got had you got all the points, which is 0. Stop being such sooks. This is Moscow in the photograph. Point for Moscow. And the final question, what is Transnistria? Okay, some of you knew this. It is in fact the breakaway state located on a strip of land between Moldova and Ukraine. It declared its independence in 1990, by the way. So far, the only other places that have recognised it as a country are Abkhazia, Artsakh and South Ossetia, which are all also breakaway states from other nations in that part of the world. No one recognises any of them. The United Nations has recognised some of them at least as self-governing regions, but not full members of the United Nations. So the unstable chemical compound, I just made that up, although the Wassenaar Arrangement and the Canberra Convention are actual things. And C, the transgender rights political organisation. I don't know what such an organisation would be, but all the dates I gave are correct. In fact, there was a High Court decision in Pakistan or Supreme Court decision in 2009, and then the Protection of Rights Act for transgender persons in 2018, which is quite good. So a point there for B, the breakaway. Okay. And now, yes, Roman shared toilet stick is close enough. Roman, we knew it was toilet. Roman is the key. That's the Latin word for it. No, Latin words for the thing. Candles and squeals, yes. Jim Campbell's going to take a point for personal vibrator liquor thing. Yep, sure. You understood what it's about. Look, no, I've said this platypus thing. The story I read said bluish green. I can't remember which one it was. I mean, The Guardian, for fuck's sake. No, not Russians hacking the electricity in Iran. Don't know what a zebra's got to do with anything. Shut up, Civil Mobile. George, yes. Some of you are saying I'm arguing against things which are not appearing. There is a switch at the top of the live chat which says, do you just want to see the top tweets or all of them? So I'm looking at all of them. 10 points. Okay, so anyway, that round, there's possible 27 points in part 2 for a total 60 points in total for the game. So while you're putting all your scores in the chat, to gloat at others or commiserate with others, I'll just say thank you. That's it for the second pilot episode of the 8 p.m. quiz. Links below to stuff. It's a bit thin at the moment because I had to restart the whole thing due to that technical glitch earlier. Stilgerian.com/tip is the one to pay attention to. Thank you for playing. To play us out, the opening music was by Erlnite, E-R-L-N-I-T-E, he or they or she or whatever. I know nothing about them except they're from Norway, and they've released their stuff under a Creative Commons license, so I'm not going to get into any dramas about that. So again, there'll be links down below once I get around to sorting this out. I will see you next week. I will see you next week, right? And you'll bring more friends. We'll make that happen Thursday night, the 28th of January, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So same time, same YouTube. Until then, I'm Stilgerian. Have a good life, and we'll see you soon.
Erlnite Productions.
I feel so alone. I'm alone. Where are you? I feel so alone. I'm alone. Where are you?
The 8 p.m. quiz is a Skank Media production. Sorry.